But, inadvertent, a mistake, someone, I forgot my bill, and they go to pay it, they're a day late, and they won't accept it online. All you do is drive down to town hall and pay it, I understand that. But it would make things a lot easier, and you'd have the money sooner
And some
under
people
those
can't drive.
circumstances.
They can pick up the phone and call.
I don't know what the call has to do with it, but.
So Joe, we
Aye.
want to be able to accept whatever people are offering us at whatever time during the calendar year.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I understand.
Maybe one or two of us will test that, Joe, so. Right.
So,
All right. Back on there, right?
I'm back. Number 4, the board had asked me to review actions involving the police towing contract, the awarding of a contract to a private firm. I have the file here. I had meant to report back to the board earlier on this. It slipped my mind, but I did go through it, and I didn't find that there were any irregularities involving the contract. There was an RFP that was advertised back in October.
RFP or RFI?
RFP, request for proposals.
Okay.
2 of them, request for information was what it was advertised as?
Right.
Correct, request for information. So there were 2 vendors that did submit proposals. Of those 2 vendors, one of the vendor responses was deemed to be unresponsive to the RFP. The second response was complete and offered a significant fee payment to the town. You have a copy of the contract that I did execute. It formalizes what was an informal relationship that existed over a period of many years. In the judgment of the police department, that informal relationship needed to be tightened up, that there needed to be one firm, one or more firms which had a contract with the town for towing services. So there was a 1-year agreement that was executed. It does expire in December of this year. You have a copy of it. And again, the dollar amounts associated with it do represent a significant gain from what we've received in the past, which was nothing. And also the fact that significantly more than what was proposed in the other vendor's response. A copy of the packet, and I would be happy to pass it on to any board member who would like to look at it. It's quite detailed, and anyone who does want it, I'll make it available.
Just the only question I have is the difference between a request for information and a request for proposal, I think are very different. But maybe going forward, that we use the RFP. Request for information, people generally show all their cards,
I understand.
put them on the table. Whereas a request for proposal is just that. There you go, we're going out to bid. Give us your best shot.
Michael?
the money's coming in, is it just going to our general fund?
Sidewalks.
General fund.
General fund.
Is it inappropriate to make a recommendation where the money goes? Or can I make a proposal for you guys to consider that?
I mean, a
think-
lot of things by statute have to go to the general fund, period, so.
But I think if we just at least consider this money to go towards youth services, I think this would be a really easy thing to do. It shows a commitment on our part to try to fund some portion of the youth services. You know, everybody benefits in the town, but especially I think our police and our schools benefit from youth services. And I think this is a nice way to make a contribution towards it. Just something for consideration. You know, and I really commend the police department for putting these things forward. And I also like another idea that you guys to consider, and I think you guys have talked about it in the past. We have a good opportunity to put an impound yard in, another way we can generate some revenue for the police department. And I would like you to give it some consideration. I've gone up and talked to Chief Nolan about it, and it kind of goes along with this. It's another set revenue source that we can do very well with. And I have some information on it. We can talk about it another time.
Thank you.
Eh?
Yeah, just the final item I have to report on is listed here as number 5. And it's a report of the Employee Insurance Advisory Committee, which did have a meeting earlier today. One of the responsibilities of the committee is to provide the board with a recommendation on the health insurance renewal for next fiscal year. committee, as you know, had three options available to it. The first option was the status quo option, which was no changes in the plan that exists today. That provided for a 11.1% increase. In terms of actual dollars, it was a $502,000 increase from this current fiscal year's appropriation. The advisory committee also considered two additional options. The first was a 2% increase over the current year's rate. It instituted a tiered program. It made no change in the emergency room, and there was a small change in terms of the prescription drug plan, where the top tier prescription medications had a small cost increase. And then the final proposal that was presented to the committee was a more substantial change in terms of a tiered program. It did have some significant out-of-pocket expenses. I did meet with the committee. I did offer some, what I felt would be reasonable compromises in terms of the town assuming a portion of those costs for the next fiscal year in order to achieve cost savings. The committee did vote today, 7-2, to recommend renewal of the status quo option for the health insurance plan. So that would be the 11.1% increase for fiscal year 2011. It's non-binding. It's a recommendation. I would ask you to consider it in terms of going forward with any decisions that you do make, but they do have you with the option to provide you with a recommendation. That's what we're doing today.
So Greg, the question is, the 11% is unaffordable. We need to make some additional changes. What's the next step?
I suggest we have a conversation about it.
Okay, executive session? Or,
Executive session, be fine. That'd be fine.
well, I mean, if it's, I assume it's subject to negotiation.
Oh, absolutely.
But budget proposal figures employee
Include,
benefits included
include the.
The higher
increase,
amount.
The higher amount. We need that savings for next year, for
Right.
2012, so. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that the Insurance Advisory Committee fails to recognize the situation that the community is in terms of the affordability of providing reasonable health insurance to our employees. And two, that the reality of what the general public is dealing with respect to health insurance and benefits, that the current plan is still in many ways superior to what the average private employee is receiving for insurance.
The total cost for a family is it $18,000?
Total cost, family plan today is $1,547 a month.
18,564.
18.
564.
Of which the town is 70%.
14,432. Having chest pains.
Yeah. Anything else, Greg?
I would just like to state that the chairman pointed out that, the employees, the advisory group here may not have come to grips yet with comparing and contrasting, what's happening in the private sector in relation to public and municipal employees' health insurance benefits. I can tell you as a state employee that the benefits changes have been significant under the GIC. And I would just advise our employees groups to be cautious and be well aware that if an opportunity is provided to this community to get them to join the GIC, it would be cost beneficial for the community, but not necessarily for them. My own insurance plan with reduced benefits, deductibles that I never had before, increased co-pays and visitations and all. Again, I'm anticipating a relatively healthy family of four, $1,200 additional out-of-pocket costs that I didn't have before, and my insurance premium with Harvard Pilgrim went up 26%. With a reduced benefit plan, more out-of-pocket costs, and a 26% increase. And that's what the Group Insurance Commission can do to public employee unions for municipalities that join. They need to work with us. They need to understand that we can still work together, provide them with good, affordable, more affordable health insurance coverage, where they're going to have to bear a little bit more of the cost. Maybe the insurance premiums will be less, but an increase in deductibles, which is gonna provide substantial savings to the community. The alternative is forcing us as a board and as a community, and there's a lot of pressure on the legislature to make it very easy for municipalities to join the Group Insurance Commission. And it is not a good option for our employees. And I, for one, as a member of the GIC, would not recommend that for our employees. It's not that good. It would be a dramatic change for their families. And they need to come to that realization, sit down with us and talk some more, and come to the realization as to what's really facing them in a very short period of time. So I would suggest that they reconsider their positions and look at some of the proposals that the administrator put forth for their consideration, which some of them were very reasonable as far as out-of-pocket costs. And we were talking about working with them to bridge that gap a little bit in the cusp period here. But as one who's experiencing it firsthand, it's not pretty, it's not easy, and it's not that far away from what public sector employees, private sector employees are paying out of pocket. So it's not as good a deal as it used to be. And that's not necessarily unfair either, but it's the reality of the situation.
Perhaps at our meeting next week, since hopefully we'll have a fairly light agenda, we schedule some executive time to discuss this further.
That'd be great.
That'd be good.
I appreciate that.
Okay, you're done?
I just have an item under executive session that was in your packet.
Old and new business? We'll start at this end, Mr. Yule.
TJ, can you focus in on this? Are you able to do that? Get that? The LUC is having their crafts fair, annual crafts in the park this Saturday, the 22nd, at Hitchcock River Park. It's, is that readable?
Yep.
Great. There's gonna be entertainment, there's going to be quite a number of, I think they're actually up to 70 vendors of crafts materials. It's really gonna be a big program. Hopefully, we can get a lot of people out there, and the weather is good on Saturday. It'll be on Saturday. If it rains on Saturday, it'll be on Sunday at Ipswich River Park. So that's what's going on there. There was one more thing I wanted to congratulate both Mike and Bob.
Thank you.
Okay, for Bob for being back. Mike, I welcome you.
Thank you.
I look forward to sharing ideas and progressing new ideas, going forward. I hope that we can accomplish a significant amount together as a board. I look forward to those mission goals and meetings that we're gonna have. And also, on a light note, okay, the boys and girls 4x800 track team qualified for the states this past weekend. And the boys do 9:05 to 21, the girls do 10:50 31